Howdy chaps, and welcome back to Graham's Restorations, where today we are tackling some more rust on this XY. We don't actually have that much left. This car is nearly ready to go back to the owner, which I'm very happy with. It's been here 28th January, I reckon it turned up. It's nearly done. We've done a lot of work to it. I'll run you through what we've done and what we've got left and what we'll be tackling today. Alrighty, let's start from the back to the front. We've put a new boot channel on, a new bumper panel. We've done all of the boot channel corners, all the boot channels, the parcel shelf corners, like there, all around the lip, across the back. It's had two lower rear quarters each side and a bit of repairs on the inside. It's had both wheel arches done, both lower sections of the pillars, because it was a Fairmont, so they were all rusted out. It's had the wheel arches, the dog legs, the sill panels. These were genuine new old stock ones. I believe this one, the owner gave me a Fairlane one and a Falcon one, and the only difference was right here. That's where they're made longer. The front from here forward, the sill panels are identical, so on a Fairlane the car is longer from there back. So yeah, they've been done. All I do is just shorten it basically. So dog legs, lower pillars, inside the sill panels, the torque box area, the outer sill panels, the plenum chamber. Obviously you've seen me do some corners on the roof. I've still got to do some gutters. Basically rebuilt the whole plenum chamber, and we've done sill panels both sides, dog legs, everything. So a good portion of this car is done. The big stuff is done, as you can tell. So what we've got left is just finishing up some welds, grinding down some welds, putting a couple of extra welds in, a couple of baby holes in the firewall there. We've got across the bottom of the windscreen. We've got a hole on the top of the roof. This little hole here. The gutter. This is what we're tackling today. And that's pretty much it for this side. We've got a round the back window opening, which won't be too bad. This side's even better. We'll probably have to do a small section of gutter here down for this side. Tickle a couple of welds under here, and that's pretty much it really. Then we're pretty much done. We're trying to get this car done for the owner for Christmas, or before Christmas really, because I think that'll be a nice present for him. It's been here almost a year. I'd like to have it gone within a year, but perfectly honest, it's progressed quite well, I think, considering how much other stuff I've had going on in the background. So we're nearing the end. I'll run you through what we're going to do here in a second, after I've just done a big catch up on everything. The whole workshop got a tidy. The EJ is stuffed back in a corner. Probably in the new year I'll send that to Blastworks and just have that whole car blasted from front to back and just get it done and have it coated in Epitech, and then repairs can start on that when I'm ready. This is a door I've got for the XB that you might have seen. A little rustier than I would have liked, but luckily I know a guy. Managed to stuff some stuff down there. These are the wheels I've been working on for the XB. There's another one in the boot of the car. There's one on the car, on the XB itself, with a tyre already done. I'll throw a photo of that up in a second. And these are the ones that still need to be reconditioned. These are Hurricane mags. These particular ones are made by Globe, which was kind of cool. I've got to chase down some center caps, which seem to be a rarity on these wheels. The amount I've seen for sale that don't have them is incredible. And yeah, that's pretty much where we're at. Pretty much just going to finish this. I'm sorry I haven't put much content out lately. I haven't had anything I would classify as worthy of filming. It's not really that interesting, so I'm not going to just put up mindless videos for no reason. I'd like to show some stuff that's useful, like the gutters today. We're going to film this, run you through that, but you know, there's not much, you know, yeah, it's just a hard one to describe. There's not been, the jobs I've been doing have been so massive that they've taken up a lot of time and effort, and all the jobs that I've got left are not overly exciting unless I do something like the EJ, which I don't get paid to work on because that's my own stuff. So I'm sort of struggling for content at the moment, which is why you might have noticed the amount of videos I put out have died right down. But we'll get one out today and hopefully you enjoy it. So we'll start off with what I'm going to do here. So just getting into the repair, what we're going to do is we're going to go straight through here where it's not rusty. We're going to just slice straight through there, not go too deep, and then we're going to just drill out the spot welds under through here, and this top piece should just come off. And then we're going to do some cleaning up and make sure that between here is still good, otherwise we might be putting a big piece in. I know it's got a hole here, so we're going to get this off and have a suss at how bad it is. Putting a new gutter on should be fairly straightforward because you've got sections like this you can buy that trim up and into the right shapes. So we'll get this off and then see how bad it is. So I don't know how well you can see this, but we've got the gutter off. It didn't exactly come off willingly, but it's off now. And it's not that bad. It's not that good. We've got some of the rust that creeped under the lead, so I dug the lead out until I could find it where it was actually no longer rusty, so I'll clean that up a bit better. So pretty much what we're looking at is the roof skin comes down to about here, the quarter panel tucks up underneath it, and obviously there's a chunk that's missing. So what we need to do is just lightly peel up this section of roof just here a little bit. I'll have to actually put a piece on because there was actually a little nub that comes out, well, not really a nub, but there's a small piece that comes out on a right angle that sticks to the roof and actually welds into the gutter. So I've got to put that back on, and I've got to probably take it down to about here, across and up, and just put a rectangle piece in. And I reckon I can get away with just die grinding that a little bit and just welding that hole up. I thought that hole was going to be cavernous, it turned out to be just a little bit, so that's fantastic. I'm probably going to have to sandblast this a little bit too after while wheeling it a bit more, just see if I get a bit better of a look at it. But pretty much the inner frame is good, you can still see black paint on that. The quarter panel sits over the top of that, and the roof sits over the top of the pair of them. So we've got to pretty much peel that up a little, put a little rectangle in up here after we clean up underneath it and weld that hole up. So that's what we're going to tackle in a minute. Alright, after much sandblasting and working out that this is quite heavy rust, I decided that I reckon next protocol is to just slice off the very edge of this quarter panel and remove this whole piece that's got surface rust on it all the way to the bottom completely. Just cut it off, maybe leave myself a smidge at the bottom so I know how far in it goes, and just replace that whole piece that goes in here, because I really think that might be the best protocol. And then we can clean up this piece, which I assume has surface rust the whole way down. We can clean up that piece, and then we can put a fresh piece on there and then put the gutter on. I think that's what I'm going to do. It seems to be the best decision, because I didn't even realise that this rust crept out the side too, so I've sandblasted all that. So what I'll do is I'll just slice, I might just cut a small section out of the top of this quarter panel here, or even peel it up a little bit, grind out that braze, and then slice off a slice off the very edge of this quarter panel so I can get a good gauging exercise. What I might do is just take a quick measurement from here to in there, so I know how high this has got to be the whole way down, because with this nothing supporting this, this is going to become very flimsy. We want this to be back where it started effectively. So I'll do some measuring and I'll do some trimming, and we'll get that piece off and see how bad this piece is. So we peeled up the roof and we've chopped off the edge of the quarter panel, and surprisingly it's only sort of localized here and here. Actually this whole midsection surprisingly wasn't rusty. Still had its E-coat on. You can still see some of it there. And this didn't move as much as I thought it would. Moved a little bit. It just needs to go back in a smidge on when it goes to be welded back on. But I've kept this bit so I know how soft the radius needs to be and how far it needs to be, and then I know exactly how far this needs to be from that line, so then you just move them together. So this should be fairly straightforward. I'm going to make this next piece. I'm probably going to do that fold in the folder in several stages, because it's not a crisp fold, it's like a soft fold. And then once I've made that and trimmed it up, I'll then re-blast these areas, which shouldn't take too long, and I'll just weld them up, and then we'll copper spray through here, and then put the next piece back on, which should come through to about here. There is actually a slight dip here, and then we can just put a little lip of the roof back on going this way, and then we'll be back to square one where we want to put the gutter on. It is amazing how many times these jobs just end up being 40 times worse than you'd think. Oh yeah, I'll just remove the gutter and put another one on, and then the panel behind it's buggered, and then the panel behind that is stuffed. So you end up with these massive jobs like that XD roof. You would not believe that the roof skin itself looked utterly rust free. Take the roof off and the whole frame is gone on the car. You're like, wow. A little bit scary. Also, I've been thinking while I've been toiling away with this, I have thoughts to myself. Because I'm struggling with a bit of content at the moment, if anybody has suggestions of what they'd like me to do or film or play with next, I'd be most interested in your suggestions as far as the cars I've got, because I've got the XB and some of the EJ and this and a few other things, you know. If you want me to, any particular stuff you'd like me to do, I can certainly figure out a way to make that happen. So just sing out any suggestions. I'm open to anything that's going. I'm a fairly easygoing guy. I like to have fun with everything. So just sing out your ideas of what you'd like to see me do with my projects. So we're going to get onto this in a second. I'm just going to make up my next piece, trim it down, sandblast, copper spray, put it in. So I've welded up the holes. They're not too bad. It's perfectly acceptable repair. A little baby hole here, gone, here. Reshaped, ready to go. I'll copper spray it again, and we've got our new piece. Once I put some plug weld holes in it, it's going to go right there, and then that's the edge of the quarter panel, and then we fix the piece of the roof, and then we put the gutter on, and that should wrap up a nice video, I reckon, on a nice little repair. So I'm just going to get my hole puncher, punch some holes, run my step drill bit through it, make them bigger, and then in she goes. Alrighty, our piece is ready to rock and or roll. So when this goes in, I can just lightly push this in, because that's pretty much what it did. It just popped out when it was cut. It's lined up here, it's lined up here. So both ends are good, follows the curves. Actually has a slight curve that way and a slight curve that way. So when it goes in, it'll be just fine. And then obviously the gutter is going to smack against that, because once this is in, it's going to be copper sprayed, and then this bit tap back down, and then another piece put in there, and then we can put the gutter on. But so far we've got a little problem with all the lead that's here. It's holding it quite firmly, so I'm going to hope that when I don't want to dig all the lead out, because one, there's no need to, but at least it allows a minimal amount of bog to go through there. But yeah, that's where we're up to. I'm going to do a nice little speed camera time-lapsey thing for this, hopefully, and hopefully it works. So I can weld this in, plug, 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 grind, 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 done. Copper spray, next layer, done. that's in. That's looking lovely. Yes, yes. Now just gotta grind it down, put a little piece in, stick the gutter back on. The amount of work involved is incredible now. But yeah, basically, didn't actually warp too bad. Obviously I didn't put tons of heat in it because the lead's still hanging in there. It doesn't take much to melt lead out, so obviously wasn't a ton of heat. So a couple of times there I had to recut a couple of things and make it sit a bit better, but for more or less that's pretty well sorted. I'm very happy with that. Just a quick grind and we're giggling like a schoolgirl. Right, there we go. Ground down, copper sprayed. The new piece of roof corner is in. Pretty straightforward. I basically just cut a piece to the same thing and welded it through there and then ground it down and we're done. So now we are back to square one, where it's copper spray and make sure it's all in there and all the cavities, and we just trim down the next piece of gutter, stick it on, and bing bang boom, be done with it. Basically we'll just be doing a weld through here and then a series of plug welds, and that's the gutter done and replaced, as well as some of the quarter panel and some of the roof. Righty chaps, we're into the last section of today's video, just because I didn't expect the whole inside of that to be totally stuffed, so we're not going to get to the other side. Now these sections that I was given didn't have this extra little crease in it, so I had to measure off the original and add that in. Pretty straightforward. Cut the angles, drill my holes. This is going to go just like that. Just like that. Magic. And just, I obviously had to put it through the stretcher to put a bit of a curve in it. Copper spray, copper spray, copper spray, la copper. And this is just gonna go straight in there, and that is job done. I'll do a final bit of a time-lapsey thing at the end and wrap the video up, I think. Alrighty chaps, and that's where I'm going to leave it for this video. Obviously we've got a couple more issues to sort out here, but at least there was a midsection that was okay that I could use to copy here. Unfortunately, due to the rust actually creeping under the lead and cleaning it out for this repair, it's going to need a bit of filler just in there. I'm not an expert in lead filling, so I'm probably going to leave that to the experts, or I'll just put some normal filler in there. But our gutter is now repaired. This is galvanized. I worked out after doing it. I was like, oh, that explains why it was welding a bit funky. So all I gotta do is grind them down. But that's it. Hole's gone, rust that was between that's all gone. The chewed out gutter is all gone. And yeah, well here's what we were working with before. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully I can keep some more coming. Yeah, so stay tuned. I'm going to try and get videos out more frequently, but it all comes down to what is interesting to film. So stay tuned, don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and hope you enjoyed it.